What film or show hilariously misinterprets something you have expertise in? Just wanted to say that National Treasure is not on this list. Their document inspection and reconstruction techniques are fucking perfect. Not a joke. Went with an entire team that was consulted to get it right to see the finished product. We stood up and cheered. When they check that corner, it is like sex. Document sex. They didn't need to be labeled because they were red and yellow. As we all know, red is orange. Orange is the color of explosions. Therefore, mixing the two will cause an explosion. That's also why they don't just put ketchup and mustard into one bottle to save you time on hamburgers. Pretty basic science stuff.
Hey guys, much like you, I love reading people's stories on Ask Reddit. Unfortunately, there's a lot of weird middle school level, just thought experiment type hypotheticals like nice try Baskin Robbins. I don't find this compelling, so that's why I've made it my mission to trawl and crawl through Ask Reddit and find the very best content and put it in your ears. That's why I'm begging you, like and subscribe. If there's anything I can do to help you out, give you the kind of content that you crave to help you get through your workday, let me know in a comment. But please like and subscribe.
The way movies portray elevators, especially stunts on them, it's just incredible. You cannot just cut the wire and the elevator will fall on the shaft. It has at least 3 safety measures that will prevent the elevator from falling, effectively locking it on the shaft. I burst out laughing at the scene in The Amazing Spider-Man when the reptile mad scientist was fighting Parker in a school when he sees 2 flasks of yellow and red liquid. He then mixes the 2, throws it at Spider-Man, and a giant explosion occurs. Just, what the fuck was that scene even in there for? Once again Scrubs nails it. Narrator, congratulations. You're expecting. Don't worry, your doctor will tell you everything you need to know. Steps into camera shot in a lab coat and horn-rimmed glasses. Narrator, hi, doctor. JD, you'll fart, pee, puke, and poop in front of 10 complete strangers who'll be staring intently at your vagina, which, by the way, has an 80% being an attorney, especially a trial attorney. Witnesses never crumble on the witness stand. In fact, with how liberal discovery is now, there are few if any surprises at all. Moreover, very few civil cases ever go to court, maybe one. Most of the time, we are sitting in an office writing or researching to stay out of court. I know this is the reverse of what you're asking, but I had to respect the social network for a scene early on in the film. They show Zuckerberg's script that scraped people's pictures and whatnot from the internal site. It's real Pearl. I paused the movie and explained to my wife line by line what it was doing. Of course, one could argue that it's not real Pearl because someone who didn't write it can actually tell what it's doing. Shot a short film for class in college. One of the main characters unlocks a classroom door with his student ID card. Got a few people who criticized me for being contrived and taking them out of the film with that action. Except the classroom had been accidentally locked when we got there that evening to shoot, and we had to unlock it by using a student ID card. Hackers portrays computer software manipulation coding hacking as some navigating through extravagant interfaces and other absurd shenanigans. Pretty much most computer-centered movies make coding hacking look much more action-packed than it really is. Heat is excellent for realistic gun use, and used by at least one military organization as a good demo of urban fire and maneuver. I believe Val Kilmer got a round of applause at one Marine base screening. As his M runs out, he covers and changes mags smoothly before getting back in the fight. Not seen often in Hollywood.
I turned 36 this year, and I decided to focus on my physical fitness, so I bought a swim club membership. The only problem was, most of the time when I go swimming, I wind up getting an ear infection. So it turns out that normal earplugs, they kind of irritate your ear canal, they don't really work, they don't keep the water out, but there is an amazing kind of earplug called Mack's Pillow Soft Silicone earplugs that, they feel great, they keep the water out 100%. they're reusable, and they don't irritate your ear canal at all. No issues. If you've ever had a severe ear infection, you don't want to experience that again. It can permanently damage your hearing if you're unlucky. So investing in these earplugs is definitely a good idea. Also, when my baby was crying later this year and I could not get to sleep, I used the same earplugs and they worked great. I was able to sleep right next to a crying baby. So be sure to click my affiliate link and purchase some of these Max earplugs today.
So, I'm an archaeologist. I've also studied forensic anthropology. Nobody ever fucking gets either of those things right. Nobody in forensics or crime scene analysis carries a fucking gun, nor do they talk to victims, bad guys, etc. We get into the profession specifically to avoid talking to people. Jesus. Also, the shit that Indiana Jones has done for archaeology is kind of unforgivable. Well, it would be if Harrison Ford wasn't such a babe. But honestly, everyone thinks I either dig up dinosaurs, find buried treasure, or grave rob in Egypt. Aviation. Almost all movies and television shows mess up aviation. Sorry, but F-22 fighter jets are not going to by flying at 100 feet above the ground and getting within 100 feet of the target. They fly at airliner altitudes and fire missiles from 20 miles away. WAVs and AC October 2nd, 2024 do not do strafing runs where they fly in, do one run, and fly away. They orbit their targets at 5,000, 15,000 feet, dropping ordnance on their targets until the targets no longer exist. In more of a civilian world, explosive decompression in movies is always terribly done. Explosive decompression happens in less than half a second. It is not a damn wind generator with shit flying all over the place for 60 seconds and stuff getting sucked out like that Alien movie. Also, explosive decompression quite literally sucks the air out of your lungs, and at normal cruising altitudes 35,000 Earth, your time of useful consciousness will be 15 seconds. I did find one thing that wasn't accurate in the film. When they're on the spiral wooden staircase and it breaks, you can see a nail pulling out of a piece of wood one of the characters is clinging to. The nail is round when it should have been square. You see, Indiana Jones isn't an archaeologist. He is an action archaeologist. Big difference. Action archaeologists, much like action scientists, lead much more exciting lives than their mundane, non-actiony counterparts. They are generally much more attractive too. Fuck, owning a car in a movie isn't realistic in movies. Hero tosses his protege the keys to his Chevrolet Super Sport. It's always a Chevrolet Super Sport. It's all yours, kid. Hero disappears forever. No title. No bill of sale. That's gonna go over well at the DMV. Tilt, as well as getting to grips with the challenges of riding his own horse on set. Fox had to ride a stunt horse, without a bridle or saddle and while holding a gun. It was supposed to just be a little trot, but the horse was used to the stunt person and just broke out into a 28 mile per hour, full speed ahead gallop, said Fox. On the outside, I looked like Django, but on the inside I was Little Richard. Oh Lord, Jesus. Jesus, stop this horse. Jesus, stop this horse. Source. I always find it laughable in films when a jet flies close enough to the giant monster to be swatted out of the sky. You have the advantages of speed, flight, and long range, and you for some reason to decide to move in as close as possible to your target. Come on, House is ridiculous for many, many reasons, but the thing that bothers me most is that this elite team of physicians are apparently pan-specialists. Oh, you need a complex neurosurgical procedure to obtain a pituitary biopsy. And then you need that biopsy interpreted, along with any relevant immunohistochemistry and molecular diagnostics. Well, no worries, this one resident can do it all. Only half related, but Russell Crowe learned violin for Master Amp Commander. His stuff got dubbed over, of course, but it made it look much more realistic since his motions were correct for what he was playing anyways. Thought that was pretty impressive. I agree. I have a science background, and after watching it, I couldn't understand what was so hilarious. The one-liners were just simple facts followed by a laugh track. Also, as someone who works with people on the spectrum, pretty sure Sheldon has Asperger's, and I find it a little cringe why that it's a huge source of a lot of the jokes.
I turned 36 this year, and I decided to focus on my physical fitness, so I bought a swim club membership. The only problem was, most of the time when I go swimming, I wind up getting an ear infection. So it turns out that normal earplugs, they kind of irritate your ear canal, they don't really work, they don't keep the water out, but there is an amazing kind of earplug. It's called Mack's Pillow Soft Silicone earplugs that, they feel great, they keep the water out 100%, they're reusable, and they don't irritate your ear canal at all, no issues. If you've ever had a severe ear infection, you don't want to experience that again. It can permanently damage your hearing if you're unlucky. So investing in these earplugs is definitely a good idea. Also, when my baby was crying later this year and I could not get to sleep, I used the same earplugs and they worked great. I was able to sleep right next to a crying baby. So be sure to click my affiliate link and purchase some of these Mack's earplugs today.
I used to love House, but now that I am near the end of med school, I can't watch it anymore. The differentials they throw out are either completely outrageous and inaccurate or so obvious that everyone would have already thought of them. Not to mention the fact that House would have been fired about 1,000,000 times over. I believe there was also an episode where they zoomed in on an image and used the reflection on the subject's eye. Oh my god, yes, they do it on Twin Peaks too. And probably NCIS. And every other fictional detective-type show on television. Hollywood is not known for its originality. Related fact, I'll call it a fact for lack of better word. Have been told this and thought it sounded probable. Hollywood films hire people to make up plausible-sounding pseudoscience for things that are actually impossible. For the majority, it's not what they say, but what it sounds like they're saying. Classic example: we need to reverse the polarity of the neutron flow. Lord of the Rings with archery. You don't draw and hold for as long as they do with a recurve bow. Also, the form most people use is horrible. I'm thinking of a few of the elves in Helm's Deep. Ironically, that movie is what got me into archery in the first place, but thankfully I was taught properly early on. I was referring mainly to their form, in this scene in particular. Just wanted to say that National Treasure is not on this list. Their document inspection and reconstruction techniques are fucking perfect. Not a joke. Went with an entire team that was consulted to get it right. To see the finished product, we stood up and cheered. When they check that corner, it is like sex. Document sex.
If there's ever a fly or a mosquito or like a yellow jacket or some weird unknown insect in my house, my wife will not leave me alone until it is dead, and she will blame me personally for having a house that an insect entered. The only way that I'm able to buy peace for myself so that I can work on this YouTube channel that you enjoy is by using an electric fly swatter with an affiliate link in the description. The way this fly swatter works is that you hold down the little button and then you whack the fly as if it were a tennis ball, and it looks like a tennis racket. And what the electricity does is it stuns the insect or kills it so that you can clean it up easily. And the fact that it's a tennis racket gives you a much better chance of actually hitting the insect. And I found it invaluable, and I hope that you will decide to also use it in your home. And, if you're like a teenage boy, you can also whack other teenage boys with it. We used to do that in the Boy Scouts.